Well, good morning. It's hashtag Finally Friday. I'm Todd Duplantis. It's August the 7th, 2020. We're glad to have you with us for Up to the Minute. We've got a number of guests on the show today, a lot coming up in the next half hour, plus your HCC news and announcements, the things you need to know going into this weekend. First, I want to introduce my co-hosts. That's right, I said co-hosts because we have a couple of them today. Of course, Brittany Pacheco joins me. Good morning, Brittany.
Good morning, Todd.
And we've also got Frank Cooper, who's making another appearance this week. Frank, it's great to have you with us.
Thank you, boss man. Great to be here. Happy Friday, everybody.
It's good to see you, Frank. We're going to talk sports in a little while, so just be prepared for that. We got some things to talk about later on in the show. Stick around for that. And Brittany, certainly want people to share this show because we've got a lot of information on the next half hour.
That's absolutely correct, Todd. So not only do we want you to share this podcast so we can grow our audience, but we also want you to go ahead and like our social media pages. We have Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. We also have a YouTube channel where you can watch all of our videos produced by our very own HCCTV. Hit that subscription and notification bell. That way you can be the first to find out the latest.
That's right, Brittany. Stick around. We've got more with you and Frank coming up, but I want to introduce our other guest before we get to our first right now. Feddel White joins us. He's the program coordinator with the HVAC, Heating, Ventilation, and Air Conditioning for Architectural Design and the Construction Center of Excellence. Good morning, Feddel. We've got your mic off, but we'll be back with you shortly. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good to have you with us. We'll be with you in a few moments. And of course, it's Friday. That means Dr. Jimmy Adams joins us with a piece of poetry. Good morning, Dr. Adams.
Morning, everybody. Good to see everybody.
We're excited to see you this morning. We'll be back with both of you in a few moments. But first, we want to start with a special guest. And we've had Dr. Patricia Dodd on in the past before, but we want to talk to her about a very subject that's really compelled many of us. You know, a few nights ago, multiple explosions occurred in the city of Beirut, the capital of Lebanon. The blast occurred at the port of Beirut and left more than 130 people dead. More than 80 are missing right now, and thousands of people are injured. It's literally devastated the downtown area. And Dr. Patricia Dodd joins us. We had her on our show a few months ago, and she's visited all around the world, including Beirut. Dr. Dodd, thank you for joining us on this day.
Good morning, Todd.
We wanted to first, I know you've been to Beirut, but I want to ask you this because seeing what happened there, and you know, the videos keep coming out, and it's just devastating. You can't imagine what the citizens there went through on that horrific day. But what were your impressions when you saw some of that video?
I can imagine what they'd gone through. The last time I was in Beirut was 2006, and I left a week before the Israelis bombed southern Lebanon. So if I'd stayed a week longer, I would have been a refugee. So, and the first time I went to Beirut was 2005, and I stood right before the building where Rafik Hariri was basically, that building was bombed as well. So I have only seen Beirut with bombing. The bullets from the 82 war are still in the buildings. I've never seen Beirut otherwise. I mean, I've never seen the extent of this damage, but I've never seen the Paris of the Middle East that people talk about Beirut being in the 60s. That must have been amazing.
We had mentioned before, you've traveled around the world in, I believe, 112 countries. The last
115,
time we talked,
I've had time to recount.
So we've got 115 now, but you know, you can't imagine what the people in that city must have been going through at that time. But from what you're telling me, violence and unfortunately explosions and war is a common thing when you're living in Beirut.
Well, and the Levant is a crossroads geographically, culturally. It's been a flashpoint, and it's extremely even more complex now because the infrastructure is basically eradicated. 95% of their grains have been imported, and the grains that Lebanon produced basically are the types of, it's durum, and durum is basically produced for pasta. And so the silo was blown, and that was basically corn and durum. And so they have to import. So the food supply has been cut off, the primary food supply. I don't know if you remember reading in the newspaper about over a year ago where they were burning garbage in the street as protest. Macron, the French president, just showed up, and basically the people were begging for the French to come back and occupy them. That's how bad Lebanon is right now, that they're begging the French to come back. And that's a colonizing country.
Right.
The hospital, the government that has been running Lebanon basically owes the hospitals money. The Palestinians there's UNRWA, one of the agencies of the United Nations, reported that there are 475,000, I think, Palestinians that are not registered. I don't even remember the numbers. I'm not going to start quoting numbers, but people basically are living stateless. And then they have 1.5 million refugees from Syria living there that don't have access to healthcare, that don't have rights to healthcare. Plus, those hospitals are not funded. Now they have this problem. It's a catastrophe beyond belief there.
I mean, from what I'm hearing, virtually they're saying 90% of the buildings in the downtown area are gone, destroyed, or inhabitable, have to be torn down. And 300,000 people right now around that area, I don't want to quote the number, but I believe I read that just recently, that could be homeless at this time, including the people you've been speaking about as well.
I have a friend that's on the ground. It's apocalyptic.
That's amazing. You know, it's heart-wrenching, and you know, our prayers are certainly with the people of Lebanon. I know you spent some time there. Real briefly, we only got a few moments left. If you could describe the Lebanese culture real briefly to give people what the people are like over there.
I spent 2 summers, 2005 and 2006, and of course, there's a dual layer of Lebanese culture. There are those that are the Phoenicians. And of course, they were occupied by the French, so there's a real French texture to the culture. They are Arab, but they have their own Lebanese style. And it's funny because whenever Ana Takashwe Arabi, and whenever I say something in Arabic, people ask me if I'm Lebanese and Palestinian, and I'm like, no, an American who spent time in Palestinian camps in Lebanon. So it's really funny. But they have their own Lebanese words in Arabic. And it's a French way of living in the Arab world.
Wow. And
you know, it's like Americans, I think they call it a hookah, and depending on where you are in the Middle East, you're smoking shisha, but it's really a laissez-faire way of living. If you're Lebanese, if you're Palestinian, it's a whole different story. You're never Lebanese unless you're a Palestinian Christian, and that's a whole different story. You know, if you're a Lebanese citizen, but it's a wonderful culture when you're in Beirut, but not now. And it's my memories of being in Beirut were lovely when I spent time with Lebanese people. And you go in the kitchen and they have this bread they call khubz, and you're in the kitchen with a family, and they just take this pita bread, this khubz, and you're talking to people and they just put it on the burner and they're just flipping it on the burner like a tortilla talking to you. And it's just hilarious. They don't put it in the pan. They just put it on the burner. And then they have this halloumi cheese, and, you know, people are in these elegant homes and they're just slapping this bread on a plate with this cheese. And they're elegant people, but they're very humble at the same time. And it's a wonderful culture. So if you have time to experience that, we have a slice of that in Houston. Sometimes I go down to Mary's Cafe over on Richmond, and she's that's a lovely family that runs a real authentic Lebanese restaurant. I'm not advertising for them.
Right. Yeah.
But
yeah.
I've gone in there when I first moved to Houston, and I told them, I said, you know, I stayed in Lebanon and had a wonderful experience. And whenever I go in there, they always remember me because I spent time in Lebanon.
Wow.
And so, you know, I always tell my students, I said, you don't have to travel to have that experience. And I told you that the last time I was on the air, is that is my most favorite part about Houston is Houston is the culture and the experiences here, and the cuisine in Houston is amazing. And so, you know, even though that we are ourselves under lockdown, that we still, you know, even if we do a takeout, we can still have a little bit of those cultures by going to those restaurants and supporting them as well.
Dr. Patricia Dodd, we appreciate you being here on the show with us today and enlightening us and giving us your experience in Lebanon. We certainly send our prayers to the people of Lebanon. I know Beirut will.
They need them.
It'll never be the same over there, and you really feel for
it won't.
Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you so much. Salam.
Absolutely. We're going to move on and talk about HCC programs. Of course, Feddel White's joining us now, and he's with the HVAC program. Feddel, we were talking about this yesterday on the show, previewing what we had coming up and your appearance today, and we were saying Houston has got to be the place to be if you want to get into the HVAC field because you're guaranteed job security here.
That's absolutely right. That's one of the reasons why HCC is so very important, having their HVAC department.
And let's talk about the HVAC department itself. What does it consist of? I know you fall under the Architectural Design and Construction Center of Excellence. Tell us about the programs that are in the department.
Well, I have to give you a little bit of history in order to make that understood. You know, before 2017, our HVAC department was primarily focused on residential air conditioning. However, the higher-ups, and including the city of Houston, wanted us to start targeting high commercial and industrial facility training. So that's how we started to train from that point, where we're converting over from not just residential, but we're going to include commercial and industrial education.
Well, you know, that is certainly taking off because Houston construction, even during this pandemic, the construction has continued. Many of them fell under the essential workers, you know, and I live in a building near the downtown area, and I'm always amazed because you never think of helicopters being involved with HVAC, but they've shut down our streets a couple of times to place new units across the street in one of the buildings, and they'll bring in these huge choppers on a Saturday morning and lower these things down. And I guess that's standard practice when you're dealing with HVAC and large systems like you're talking about installing.
Yep. I probably was at one of those locations that was bringing the equipment over by helicopter. Up to a certain height of building, you can use a crane to do that. However, once you get over to something like Chevron Towers, 51-story buildings, you can't use a crane on that, so you have to use a helicopter.
Now, tell me about the students who go through your program. Is it a certification program that you can take in a few months? Is it a 2-year program? Can you move on to higher degrees, 4-year degrees?
Right now, we do not have a 4-year degree. We have a 2-year degree. Our students are coming in at all ages and stages in life. So some are actually working at locations that use that industrial, and they're coming back to get certifications that they didn't get in 25 years. The students coming out of high school, of course, they're coming into what they need to get, for example, the EPA license, a certification for AC technician level 1 and level 2. And then finally, at the end of the class plan, they'll be getting access to a 2-year associate degree.
And the students who go through your program, do many of them go on to work for established companies, or is this a good trade to start your own, being an entrepreneur and starting your own company? Again,
yes, on both. I had one student last semester, 68 years old. He's coming back to get licenses that he didn't get, but he has his own business. So he's just there for making sure that he stays up to date on the technology. And then, of course, we've got students that do want to grow into their own business, and they, of course, go through our entire curriculum to get those credentials.
has the technology changed dramatically since you first started working in HVAC, or is this something that you can learn the basics and it's going to last you through a lifetime? Does technology affect the instruction, obviously, but your lifetime learning?
Well, that's the problem. HVAC, when I came in, was coming out of post World War II, and as they moved into the 80s, they started getting new technologies coming along. So when I came in, I had the benefit of going to high-rise buildings that was brand new. But eventually I would wind up working at buildings that were 30 years old. So a student coming in is going to get the benefit of across the board training for what technology was current at a certain time to the technology that's evolving, ongoing right now.
Because I imagine you get out the field, you find these 40, 50-year-old buildings or homes that you're going to repair, and you're dealing with a whole different set of technology than someone who lives in maybe a building with a smart system or Nest or using Alexa to control their temperature.
Absolutely. I want to be able to give them my experience. Like I said, I started working in the 80s in high-rise buildings. Then I moved over to a campus, a university campus, and they had buildings that were there since World War I. Yeah. And so you are exposed to different eras of technology, and you have to have a level of confidence, and that's what we train for, is to give them a level of confidence, not to be afraid of any technology they face.
Feddel, let's ask you this. I know things changed for us all dramatically in March when we had to start delivering education strictly online. How does that affect the HVAC program with having to move your course load online?
Well, we got kicked out of our building March the 15th. Some of our teachers were not prepared. Some of us were prepared because we did come out of the industry and we knew what was necessary. So it was a little staggered start at first, but once we got through that semester, then everybody was picking up their stride. And I don't mean just the HVAC department, I mean the entire HCC faculty community. So they did a real good job. By the time April and May came along, we had issued out hundreds, maybe even thousands of laptops and the software that we needed to use, like Zoom and WebEx. And so by the end of the summer semester, we have it down. We know what we can do. We can step back. But we also learned something new, that we're not going to go back totally to a face-to-face. We're going to be able to meld the technologies and the face-to-face together and come up with a better environment for the students.
Feddel, where do you see the history, I should say the future of HVAC going in the next 20 years? What is your impression, and how is that going to affect how we're doing students? Do you see this online education taking a larger role with training students for a career in HVAC?
Well, I see them, as far as HVAC, there's always got to be some hands-on. So I don't even expect that to go away. But the thing about the online part, you can now infuse a lot more content into a class than just that same simple 5-hour-a-week class face-to-face. Now you can embed in the class through the online and Canvas environment, you can embed a lot more content for the student to look at.
We appreciate you joining us, Feddel, here and keeping us up to date with the HVAC program. As we mentioned, Houston's got to be the best place to be an HVAC employee moving on. We appreciate that.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
All right. We'll see you in the future. Dr. Jimmy Adams, it's Friday. I'm going to bring Frank and Brittany into this conversation with you, Dr. Adams, because it's always special to have you on the show delivering your poetry. I know you've got something for us this morning. It's called When a Phoenix Rises. I think you're muted, Dr. Adams. Let's see here. Let's get you unmuted there. Can't hear you yet.
All right.
There we go.
Yeah, it's a piece I wrote, and it's really I have a little intro. but it's really about learning from life, living through life, and adjusting to adversity and life's ups and downs, and realizing who you are and where you come from, and just using what you learned to better yourself.
And it's something we're all facing right now with adversity. It seems like we're all dealing with that. And hopefully, sooner or later, we're going to come out of this COVID thing. And you hope that you're going to come out for the being better for the past few months.
Right. Well, I just think adversity builds character. And through that, we learn a lot about ourselves. And we learn that we can deal with things a lot better than we thought. And I think that's where we all are right now, rising above all of this, this environment that we're living in.
Well, Dr. Adams, why don't you go ahead and get us started with When a Phoenix Rises?
Okay. I like to, kind of start this poem with a little intro. And, a phoenix is a bird in Egyptians' mythology. That lived in the desert for 500 years and then consumed itself by fire, later to rise renewed from its ashes to live again. The phoenix is a symbol of rebirth and renewal. Sometimes we must go through hardships and disappointments in order to realize who we really are and our true purpose in life. So this is my reflection of this reality, and it's titled When a Phoenix Rises. So Nathan, you can start the music. In a barren tenement, in the abyss of nowhere, you will find a phoenix waiting there. A castaway, a bird for prey, pushed to the side with nowhere to hide, mistaken, forsaken, misled, left for dead. Beaten into the ground, 6 feet down, a phoenix survives life's test and builds his nest. Weary from life's battles, he's earned the time to rest. Under earth's blanket, in the devil's urn, a phoenix ignites his nest and burns, reduced to ashes, now free to use all he's learned. A phoenix rises from the depths of despair, from the ends of nowhere, to shed the ashes of his former self, vowing never to return to the place he's left. A phoenix rises to his feet, out of the fire, out of the heat, out of the darkness, out of his shell, out of the pain, free from hell. When a phoenix rises, he flaps his wings. He's not fearing anything. When a phoenix rises and takes flight, he's not scared to fight. When a phoenix rises and soars through the sky, he's not afraid to die. Because his fate is real. His tears can heal. His voice is clear. He has nothing more to fear. When a phoenix rises, he's reborn anew and thankful for the pain that he's gone through. There'll be no more compromises when a phoenix rises. Thank you.
Dr. Jimmy Adams, thank you. We appreciate that. It was a great piece, very relevant to the times we're living in right now. I like the passion you have for that piece, and I imagine you get this from doing on-stage poetry readings. I know you've taken part in many of those over the years.
Yeah, I have, and this one's just kind of close to me because, you know, I grew up out of the projects, and like I tell you, and you know, to come from that environment to get to where I am. And I know a lot of our students, you know, are arising from those situations. So when I look at my students, I look at them as phoenixes, and you know, it's like butterflies, you know, in their cocoons. They're breaking out of that and out of that adversity, tied up, and then once they get into education and they start to learn, they start to become and believe who they are, and they get these skills, and then, you know, now they're free to use all these things that they've learned, you know, on the streets, and they apply it to their life, and then they, you know, then they survive. Then they're able to survive in environments like we're living in now. So,
I wanted to ask you on a different subject. I know your day job is out at the Northeast College.
Yes.
Tell us what's going on out at Northeast, because I know you guys have had some COVID testing going on at one of your sites. And you've also had some students back to complete their spring semester as well.
Yes. So right now we have a COVID unit out at our Northeast College campus and our Caldwell Center. So they're doing testing, providing free testing, you know, to the community. So we're excited to continue that partnership. At our Roland Smith building, we have our truck driving program that's back, allowing students to get their skill testing on the road so they can get certified and to go get jobs. We have at our Caldwell Center, we have our EMS program. We have our fire and our criminal justice programs, all of those things going on over at Northeast. So we got a lot going on.
And we want to clarify to people who may be watching, because some of our faculty and staff or students may be saying, wait, I thought we were doing online instruction. These are specifically students who are finishing the spring semester. They're finishing their lab components. We were going to go over in a few minutes the dates to remember, because the first 6 weeks for the fall semester will be online with delivering an education. Yes,
and that is correct. So we're trying to get the students that we're in our skill-based classes in the spring, and you know, when we got shut down with the COVID, and now we're trying to give them an opportunity to finish before we start our actual classes, possibly end of September, October.
Right.
So we want to try to get them an opportunity to finish.
And I imagine many of these students need these certifications because they probably have jobs waiting. A lot of them.
Yes, they do, especially in the truck driving area, and so we're really focused to try to get them done. I also want to say also at our North Forest campus, in partnership with our Southeast College, we have our welding program, and we have students taking some welding classes there, trying to finish up their programs as well.
And when this COVID thing is over and we get back to some type of normalcy, I want to encourage everybody to go out to that North Forest campus, because that place is a gem. I know you guys have got besides the welding program, you've got an incredible automotive center out there for with automotive technology as well.
Yes, we do, and we also have HVAC as well. I know we were talking about that, and some other workforce programs as well. So. Yeah, we're looking forward to try to get this COVID behind us. But you know, HCC, we adjust to adversity. That's who we are. So we've moved to some online, to some hybrid formats, and so we're adjusting to the situation, just like phoenixes.
There you go.
We'll rise into the situation. So. I'm excited to work here at HCC and trying to do as much as we can to, support and inspire students.
Dr. Jimmy Adams, we appreciate you joining us on this Friday. We look forward to seeing you next week.
All right. Thank y'all so much. And y'all take care and be safe out there.
Thank you.
All right.
All right, we're going to move on over to Frank and Brittany. Thanks for being here, guys. Thanks for sticking around. I want to let our viewers know we're probably going to go a little long on this show because we got our announcements, but we had several guests on, a fully packed show, and we certainly had some great perspectives throughout the last half hour or so.
Yep. I couldn't have said it better, Todd.
Brittany, why don't you bring us up to date with something, a headline for the Material Science Center of Excellence, and congratulations to them.
Definitely. The Material Science COE, they're making headlines, and I think that's fantastic. We had Alberto Urbina on the show the other day, and we want to give a congratulations to them for being highlighted in Texas Association of Builders Magazine's upcoming September/October edition, even making the cover. I mean, how cool is that? So the story is entitled Critical Comeback, The Value of a Trades Education in the Age of Uncertainty. Love that headline. So as I said, we had Alberto on the show the other day. He's the dean of the COE. And he and his team were chosen as being among the best community colleges and centers of excellence in Texas. So Alberto says that there is still a demand for welders, pipe fitters, and sheet metal technicians. So from all of us here at Up to the Minute, we just want to say congratulations to the Material Science Center of Excellence and Alberto and his team for all their hard work and being recognized.
We've also got something new with our virtual student virtual lobby. Frank, the virtual lobby was established almost within a month or so after we went on this shutdown and started working online. And now they've expanded that program where they're answering students' questions in many different ways.
Yeah, Todd. So I know for a lot of students who have issues trying to get a hold of admissions and trying to get information, we do have a virtual lobby that's been going on all summer, but we added a new element now with the whole Zoom aspect. So you can reach student services through the live virtual support on Zoom, the callback request and email. No appointment is necessary. Extended hours to support you. Monday through Thursday, we are open from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. Friday, 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. and Saturday, 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. Yes, guys, Saturday we have availability. So if you have questions, get on the Zoom chat. The website is www.hccs.edu/virtual lobby.
That's right. And if you are attending HCC in the coming fall, you're going to need to attend one of our virtual information sessions. You can actually attend those on a weekly basis. We're having that all the way through August. The next session is 10 to 11 a.m. Tuesday, August the 11th. They're offering help with admissions, testing, orientation, financial aid, and much more. To register for this, now keep in mind, you're taking classes in the fall, you need to attend one. You need to go register at hccs.edu/information sessions. Brittany, the foundation, I know you're happy to say they're taking scholarship applications.
Definitely. And as a former scholarship recipient, I can't tell you how much this made a difference between going to college and not going to college. So students out there, if you are looking for tuition assistance and you are currently enrolled at HCC, this is open to all students, domestic and international. If you're looking for further assistance with your tuition costs, be sure to apply for the HCC Foundation Scholarship for this year. It's still open, but the deadline is approaching because you need to submit before August 31st. So head over to hccsfoundation.org/scholarships in order to apply today.
And we've got a convocation coming up, Frank.
We do. But this year, Todd, we have a virtual version just a few weeks away. And if you have not registered, you can go to the new website to do so. The theme is We Are Connected. Registration runs through Monday, August 17th. To register and get some more information about that, go to hccs.edu/convocation.
If you guys, have you guys taken the training yet to go back to campus that Talent Engagement is offering? Brittany, you've taken it. Frank, have you taken it yet?
I misbehaved, but I'm going to do it today.
Okay.
That's a promise.
I haven't taken it either, but we have until August 31st to take this training. We all have to take it, all faculty and staff here at HCC, and Talent Engagement has set a return to campus training, and they're reminding everyone that sooner or later we'll be back face-to-face settings. So they have established an HCC website for this, and it's mandatory HCC return to campus COVID-19 prevention training that's due by August 31st. You can check your emails from Talent Engagement to get the link. Make sure you complete that training. We're all going to have to take it. The new fall schedule, Brittany, is coming up pretty quickly, but classes still start August 24th, but they're online.
That's correct, Todd. So all classes, including our Flex Campus and lab-based courses, are going to be online for the first 6 weeks. So students out there who, there might have been a miscommunication, but rest assured, you do have an online component that you need to participate in for the first 6 weeks for your Flex Campus and lab-based courses. Now, faculty will report back to campus for in-person classes on September 28th to prepare for the in-person instruction to begin the following week on October 5th for the Flex Campus and lab-based courses. So once again, all classes will be held remotely for the first 6 weeks, and October 5th, the Flex Campus and lab-based courses will begin in person.
Thanks, Brittany. And of course, Frank, we talked with Dr. Adams earlier. There's COVID testing going on around the city, including 4 HCC campuses. The one Dr. Adams was talking about, Frank, is at the Northeast campus. They do require appointment out there. That's the HCC Northeast campus at 555 Community College Drive. And then there's another one at the HCC South campus, 1990 Airport Boulevard. You do have to make appointments for those two. And the number is 512-883-2400. We will have that information in this post. But Frank, there's a couple in the southeast side where you don't need to make appointments.
That is correct. So the Felix Fraga campus, which is 301 North Drennan Street, and the East Side campus, which is 6815 Rustic, there's no appointment required at either of those two locations. And the hours are Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 3 p.m.
That's right. So those will be going on at least for the time being. Dr. Adams, I notice you're still with us. Do you know how long the testing site's going to be open? Are you guys going to be doing this again next week as well?
Yes, we are. And I think we're just kind of playing it by request.
Okay.
And
so until further notice.
Yes. And at the end of the week, usually the director would call or send an email and we extend it. Now, I did want to say, I think you can also, if you do drive up, you can still get tested without an appointment. I just want to make that clear.
They're encouraging people, but they're not going to turn people away, in other words.
Yeah, exactly. So I wanted to say that as well.
Absolutely. We appreciate you popping back in for that. We want to, Brittany and Frank, I think we should go ahead and wrap up the show for today. We've gone pretty long, but we had a lot of good information to wrap up this week. Next week, we've got some new things starting, Brittany. In fact, we're going to have some special employees joining us over the next couple of weeks.
That's correct. So with convocation and the Employees Recognition Awards upon us in the next couple of weeks, we are launching a series to honor staff members who have been at HCC for more than 40 years. Monday, we welcome Dr. Nora Jo Sherman from the Business Center of Excellence. And wow, she's got some stories to tell because, again, we're talking to faculty who've been here for more than 40 years. So that's incredible.
40 years. Wow. Were you around when they started, Brittany?
No, Todd, I was not around when they started. Were you around when they started?
Oh, yeah. I was around. I was around when they started. Frank? Were you around?
I wasn't quite thought of yet. That's
okay.
I'm the old statesman, so I know I was around.
Yeah, we were around. They have no problem making us feel old either. So, all right, Dr. Adams, thanks for joining us. Good luck out there at HCC Northeast.
All right, man. Y'all, thank y'all. Y'all be safe.
We'll see you next Friday. Brittany and Frank, you guys have a good weekend. Frank, we'll see you next week, and Brittany, we'll see you Monday.
See you then, Todd.
Yes, sir. Y'all be safe out there.
And we will see everyone on Monday. Make it a good weekend. Enjoy your weekend. Take some time off, unplug the phone, spend some time with the family, but have a good one. We'll see you Monday morning live at 10 a.m. on Up to the Minute.